The color on his cheeks resembles a scarlet fever, or smallpox, or measles, or all at once. I don't understand it at all. And now in the light, Rem looks creepy, especially when the color flakes off his cheeks. Only no one will tell him about it. Everyone feels very sorry for him. Romulus doesn't move away from his brother even a meter, holds him by his plump plaster end, looks at him from under his brows. He's slightly shorter and thinner than Remus, but still looks older. And if they let us go, will Mom take us? Rem asks for the 100th time. Of course, Romulus reassures him. How? How will she know? Rem is now shouting. She has never come to us this whole time. Maybe she has lost us completely. Romulus doesn't know what to say to that. I think if he didn't have to be the one in charge, he would cry himself. He would sit on the marble floor and cry. But he can't afford that. He has to console, protect, support. I already know. She and her brother have been here almost from the very beginning, since the opening of Rimskaya. That was after me. In 1995, in 1996. In any case, more than 20 years have passed. Even if their mother managed to survive the disappearance of both her sons, how did she live these years while they, motionless like mute plaster dolls, sat on a fallen column and the water gurgled behind them, and people kept coming and coming, always passed from Rimskaya to Ilicha Square, from Ilicha Square to Rimskaya. As I approach, Remus immediately retreats behind his brother. Romulus clenches his fists and steps forward. I really am scary. A 2-meter bronze figure, a stern look, eyebrows furrowed, and I can't move them. Fear and nothing more. I was not like this in life, before I got lost in the tunnels. Children, I'm not scary. I squat down, so as not to loom over them. I try to remember how living people smile, to lift the corners of my mouth, unconvincingly. Romulus frowns incredulously. I don't know you. Who are you? My name is Grandmaster. I stand at Baumanskaya, between Krasnoarmieyek and Pilot. And it's not surprising that you don't know me. I'm the most inconspicuous sculpture at the station. My cheeks burn from such lies. Or rather, they would burn if I were still human. To be honest, says Romulus, relaxing a little, I don't know anyone at all. We've always sat here together. I've learned every crack on our column. And you'll excuse me, Remus was just scared of you, and it seemed to me that you wanted to offend him. You're just really big, Rem interjects, and all sharp. I wasn't like this when I was alive. Rather, I was small and round, like a bun. They look at each other. They don't know about the bun. Kolobok is a fairy tale. It's like we know fairy tales, Rem speaks from behind his brother. Sometimes mothers and grandmothers tell them when they stop with other children who can walk, jump and scream all the time, not like us. Only mothers don't want them to jump. They feed them buns, give them something to drink, button them up and tell them stories all the time. So we know a lot of fairy tales. Only almost all of them are not finished. And what kind of book do you have with fairy tales? And for the first time in 42 years I managed to smile. No, Rem, baby, not with fairy tales, with chess games. My sculpture is called Chess Player. So you play well and you can beat the master? Romulus perks up. And then we will all win and go home to Mom. But she won't find us, Rem shouts. If we win, she'll be told. I pretend to live through a book, although it's made of a single piece of bronze and the pages don't turn. You run up the escalator and while you're going up, you'll become real again. The main thing is don't go outside. Wait at the turnstiles. Wait for what? Romulus didn't understand. At the machines that don't let you into the metro without a ticket. Stay there. Mom will definitely come there, but she might not find you on the street. I'm ashamed to lie. Of course, no one will wait for them. More than 20 years have passed, but they don't need to know that. In the end, even in an orphanage or whatever it is called now, it will be better for them than to remain sculptures in the underpass. What's even more embarrassing is that they believed me and seemed happy. There are 16 of us, and we are huddled together at the Park Pobedi station. The station is new. The master used to hold the game at Novoslobodska, among the glowing flowers and red stars of the stained glass windows. Now we play here, between the pylons faced with red granite. The game requires a checkered floor, at least 8 squares wide. The floor is the board, and we are the pieces. And so am I. In life, I was a famous chess player, a participant in international competitions. I would like to offer my knowledge and experience to the team, but I remain silent. I have too much on my conscience. Park Pobiedi is unrecognizable. The station is bizarrely twisted, as if you were looking at it through a fisheye lens. The ceiling is raised to a dizzying height. The pylons are arched. Next to them, I seem like a dwarf. The floor is cut up with rails. Dozens of tracks cross the station at the most impossible angles, forming dozens of islands between which trains scurry, frantically honking. If a person saw this, I think he would simply go crazy. But it is impossible to go down to the station or up from it now. Time has stood still for everyone except us. There stands a woman in a red cap, holding a baton in her hand, as if she had just walked through the carriages, dispersed the sleeping and drunken, and is now giving the signal to the driver. Everything is clear, we can go. There is a bearded old man in a tattered coat dozing by a large granite bowl. He looks like a beggar from children's books about pre-revolutionary Russia, dirty and drunk. In my time, there were no such beggars. What has happened up there in the years that I have been living in a bronze body? Time does not move for the old man either. He will not be able to open his drunken eyes and see what is happening at the station. Everyone knows the bronze dog with the polished nose. She runs back and forth, barking at the trains, at the pylons, at the frozen trackside woman, at us. Tournament days are one of the few when she can stretch her paws, run around, and bark to her heart's content. When she stops for a second near my feet, catching her breath, I stretch out my hand to pet her. She jumps back, and for the first time I see her bronze fur stand on end. She growls and snaps her teeth at me. I understand perfectly well that my bronze hand is impossible to bite through, but I still pull it away. The body remembers some things even after 40 years. That's because for her, touch and pain are the same thing. A guttural voice comes from somewhere below. I look down and see a bronze rooster pecking at my bronze leg. Have you ever thought that this shiny nose is like an open wound for her, like torn skin? Imagine, every minute and a half a train pulls up, a dozen or so people jump out of each door, and at least 3 or 4 people in each stream certainly want to rub Irma's nose. So the question is, why the hell? Irma? That's her name, you bronze idiot. We're neighbors. I'm from Revolution Square, standing with a peasant woman. Our station is our village. And in the village, everyone knows everyone. And I want to say that if Irma could, she would have bitten off some student's arm all the way to the shoulder long ago. Or grabbed him by the throat. Those idiots tortured her. If you ever return to a human body, never rub another statue again. Understand? I'm not just telling you this, I know what it's like. He turns his left side towards me and I shake my head. His belly and feathers are polished to a mirror shine. I won't, I promise. And anyway, if that happens, I'll leave. I'll find a wife, a daughter, take them and go to the wilderness, to a place where there is no metro and won't be one in my lifetime, to one of the sleepy towns. Listen, friend, the rooster looks at me like I'm an idiot. How many years have you been living in this bronze? 25? 30? More than 40. Well, comrade, You are so stupid. The rooster pecked me in the boot with annoyance, so that a dull clang echoed throughout the station. Your wife, if she is still alive, is already an old woman, and your daughter does not even remember some dad, a clinical idiot who got lost in the metro. She has her own life. He will take her, of course he will. The most you can count on is that you will find her and she will recognize you. And imagine, you come to her like that, Dad, and you are younger than her. Younger, aren't you? Aha, you are a funny little man chess player. Oh, I can't. I can't stand it any longer and kick him with the toe of my boot. He flies a few meters, spins like a top, gets up, shakes himself off and comes back. Okay, I'm sorry, he looks at the floor. My little brother is already quite an old man. That's why I'm angry. I have no one and nothing left there. Not everyone can cope with such freedom. If only there were freedom, we'll figure out what to do with it. Only first we have to win it. I sigh, surprised at the absurd pathos of my words. You speak like a real communist, the rooster says, and immediately runs to the side, expecting another kick. But I've already pulled myself together. Besides, I can see how much pain he's in. On February 28, 1977, my wife and I left a bag of candy and gifts for Irka at the Baumanskaya metro station. We noticed the loss only after the door slammed behind us and the last train pulled away towards Krasnopresnenskaya. Zoya was angry and biting her lip. Her passport was left in the bag, and Irka was now without a gift. Then I said that I could sort everything out. I often ask myself why she didn't even try to talk me out of it. Maybe she was used to thinking of me as reasonable and reliable. I told her it would be quick, just one station, there and back. I'd run. There was no current on the rails, no trains, and I had a flashlight with me. No one would notice. Wait here. Back then I had no idea what it meant to get lost in the tunnels, how long it could take, and what the master would do when he finally found me there. But when he saw me, he laughed. It was only years later that I realized it was laughter. Then I felt the wind from the tunnels, heard the rumble of trains flying at me, and this voice in my head, which I took for my own. I thought I was going crazy, and I probably did. And then he finally decided to introduce himself to me. And I immediately realized that before me was my sovereign master. Grandmaster, I've been waiting for you, you'll entertain me. It'll be interesting, we've got a lot of time ahead of us. Then I learned that it's not just a game, it's all about betting. I was placed in a statue of a designer at Baumanskaya. The owner had a bas-relief with a chess player at Parc Culturi, where a boy plays with his father, and his mother watches them. But he was busy. Those three hated chess and each other in life. The owner liked to joke. At first, it was unbearably difficult to stand still. Non-existent muscles were cramping non-existent cramps. I suffered from pain, phantom pain of a phantom body. But it passed. I gradually got used to the need to be, to the impossibility of not being. After a year or two, my sight, hearing, and clarity of thought returned. The latter, as it turned out later, became a real curse. Being a sculptor at a metro station is an unenviable lot. I miss the ordinary human life, work, the chess club with boring analysis of games on Thursdays, even the smell of draft beer which I never drank in life. But these were trifles compared to the impossibility of seeing Zoya and Irka. I wanted to fight and howl like an animal, but I couldn't even do that. I could only stand on the pedestal, think, and stupidly hope. They probably ride the metro, right? We lived on Piatogo Goda. Zoya worked in a photo shop in Sokolniki. Her route did not intersect with Baumanskaya. But everything changes. Irka will go to school. Maybe there will be a move, and who knows what can bring a person to a metro station. It is clear that it is impossible to recognize me, but at least I will look. At least I will see that they exist in this world, my wife and my daughter. I began to peer with all possible attention into the faces of passing passengers. This supported, but it also tormented. You look for familiar features and do not find them, And people come and come in a stream, dozens of disappointments per minute, every day, every year. In all these years, I never once saw either my wife or my daughter. There were 8 of us at the station. I suppose the figure of a chess player looks strange among the soldiers and workers. Sometimes people, passing by, were surprised, asking each other, "Why am I here?" Even if I had something to say, I could not utter a word. I am a monument. I longed to talk to my bronze neighbors, to find out if they had a soul like mine. And if so, who were they? How did they become statues on the station? How did they feel and what did they hope for? How much easier it would be if we could form a small sculpture club. But if my neighbors were like me, they too could not give me a sign. We are immobile until the master allows us to walk and talk. He came for me 3 years later. One night his eyes, like tunnels from which trains rush, stared at me. I couldn't take my eyes off them. "Grandmaster, I'm going to organize a big chess tournament and I want you to take part in it." No, I'm not ready to play with you yet. First, we'll practice on the pioneers. You'll teach them before the game so that I won't be so bored. And if I like the game, then maybe I'll have some interesting suggestions for you too. The Lermontovskaya station was not always called that. It was once called the Red Gate. Each pylon at the station, faced with fleshy red granite, had a niche. Pioneers stood in the niches. Boys and girls, with horse, drums, school bags, globes and notebooks, white with red. I've never seen more beautiful sculptures. The niches were empty after the chess game. The conditions were simple. If the pioneers win, the master sets them free, leads them out of the tunnels and returns their human bodies. If they lose, they will be deprived of the opportunity to participate in the next game for a long time, perhaps for a decade, and therefore will lose all hope of liberation. That same night my book came to life. It had pages, and on the pages were notes on tactics, records of chess games, with commentary. The games were both classical and very recent. I replayed in my head the games of Karpov and Korchnoi from the World Championship of 1981, shaking my head. Watching the record of the duel between Alechini and Capablanca from 1938, smiling, leafing through the pages with the analysis of games of the participants of the chess circle at the Taganrog Cannery. I thought, compared openings and studied. No one knows better than a Grandmaster how important it is to move on. The pioneers looked at me with trusting eyes. They had been waiting for a long time. Some had been in the bodies of the statues since the station opened, almost since the mid-30s. They had lost hope, and here I was, and the opportunity to return. "Why does the master do this?" the globe boy asked me. He was punishing us, and now he's going to forgive us? We were bad pioneers. The girl with 2 pigtails intervened. The master re-educated us. If we live here, I will live differently. He wanted to raise us strong, cried out a pioneer with a horn. It was painful and difficult for us, but you can't raise a real person otherwise. This will be a test. We must show what we have become. I had nothing to say to them. I myself thought that the master was just having fun. He has such power over us, and perhaps he simply has nothing better to do. It was the best time of all the 40 years I spent in the body of a bronze chess player. Twice a week, on Wednesday and Friday nights, the master stopped time for everyone except us. I climbed down from the pedestal carefully, so as not to damage the marble floor. A train was already waiting for me. The blue doors closed behind me, and the train took me, without transfers, directly, to Lermontovskaya. If I had heard this from someone else, I would have laughed in their face, but it happened to me. After Baumanskaya, the train passed Kurskaya without stopping, then Komsomolskaya, and then I got off at Lermontovskaya, where the pioneers were already waiting for me. Between the left and right pylons there were 8 squares of red and grey granite, just the width of a chessboard. We marked its edges along the length like school children mark soccer goals, with school bags and jackets, only bronze ones. And we trained all night until 4 in the morning, openings, gambits, practicing variations, seizing the initiative, defending, finishing the game. Not all the students were talented, but there were enough simply capable guys to assemble a team of them, 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 knights, a bishop, a king, and a queen, in whose place I put the girl with 2 pigtails. No one could assess the situation on the board better than she, and the boy with the globe surprised me not only with his strong successes in tactics, but also with his cheerful disposition and some unpioneered jokes. He always tried to quietly sneak up behind the girl with 2 pigtails and hug her, and each time she turned around and slapped him, it was loud, clear, and not at all painful. So everyone laughed, including the girl herself. "Are you as beautiful in real life?" the boy with the globe asked her just before the game began. "The same?" she laughed. "1,000 times better. You can't even dream of it." Let's. For the first time I didn't hear any irony or a taunt in the boy with the globe's voice. "Let's, if we win, meet at the entrance in a week, on the square in front of the red gate." We won then. Despite his power, despite his strength, the master played at the level of a candidate for master. We played the Budapest Gambit, and the master was checkmated on the 8th move. Even then I understood his weakness as a player. He is too greedy. If there is an opportunity to eat, he will do it, weakly calculating the consequences. Such is his character. He had to let the pioneers go. They were very lucky. The niches at Lermontovskaya were empty, and it was as if there had never been any pioneers in them. But I remember. Before they left, they jumped around, hugged me, like the children of the clubfoot bear in Tchaikovsky's fairy tale. "Thank you, Grandpa, for the sun." And then they ran to the escalators, and I was left alone, looking into the face of the master. He did not forgive me. After that, tournaments were no longer held on Lermontovskaya. The next morning it became unsuitable for play. It narrowed, and instead of 8 squares between the pylons, there were 7. I waited for the master to kill me, but either he still needed me, or he found it more pleasant to torment me over the course of many years, so I remained in my bronze body on the pedestal at Baumanskaya. He took away my sight. At night, workers came and painted my eyes black. I could no longer see people passing by, only listen and count the announcers' announcements about the last train. 2,046 days, 5 years and 221 days. Then the paint was rubbed off. The owner demanded that I train the newcomers. I could have refused him. By that point, I thought, I was no longer afraid of anything. But to help 16 more statues, 16 people to freedom, I couldn't pass up such a chance. But he deceived me. First, he gave me 2 weeks to prepare. I did everything I could, but the statues of soldiers and workers were much slower than the pioneers, and none of them knew even the basics of chess. Most likely, the master had specially assembled such a team. I wondered what interest he had in playing like that. we had only managed to master the basics: how to move, how to eat pieces, checkmate, castling. It's okay, I said on the last night before the game. You will listen to me, and I will lead. The main thing is not to confuse the cells. Last time, the master didn't stop me from giving hints. Although I almost didn't have to give advice, the guys managed on their own. But it didn't work out that way. It all started when the master visited me at night at Baumanskaya. His eyes, two dark tunnels, but this time I saw wrinkles in the corners. Like a tired old man forced to play the role of a villain day after day, year after year. And when he asked if I was tired of this heavy body, I thought I heard sympathy in his voice.
Later, I cursed myself every day, mentally spitting in my own vile mug, but at that moment I almost loved him. And the words poured out of me, and I complained, cried, and even laughed, asked for something. If only for an hour I could be someone else, I said finally. Remember how different things can be. And he nodded and promised to think about how to help me. Master promised to help me. He left long ago, and I stood on my pedestal and choked with joyful premonitions. With joyful premonitions, an idiot, with joyful premonitions. They took me right before the game started. Two black cast-iron-looking figures without faces. At the most beautiful station among the glowing stained glass windows. Baumanskaya. Since that night I have fallen out of love with her, but nothing will change that. I will grant your wish, Grandmaster. You wanted to be something else, and I can arrange it. I will make you a flower. Look, there are so many of them here. Hundreds and hundreds of glass flowers in the most beautiful stained glass windows. I have chosen a wonderful yellow bud for you under a star. Besides, you will have a perfect view of the game from there. It is a pity that you will not be able to give advice to the team, but flowers, as you know, cannot speak. Perhaps the game will not be so interesting, but you asked, and I promise, Grandmaster. No, I began to understand where he was leading. Not now, not before the tournament. But two black men twisted my arms, pressed my face against the stained glass window, and pressed so hard that I thought that the multicolored glass would splash in all directions, but that didn't happen. Of course, you are letting your team down. They have so little chess experience, you could improve their chances considerably, the master sneered. But you, little Judas, bad boy, didn't think of anyone when you asked me.
No one forced your tongue, your cast iron head. I struggled with all my might, but the two blacks held me tightly. I understand that you are afraid that your betrayal will be discovered. Everyone is afraid of that. Very well. I will spare you from that. None of your charges will notice anything. I promise. I am a man of my word. Now relax and enjoy the game. From above, from the side, I watched as the blacks released my bronze body, as it straightened up, straightened its shoulders, and waved its hand at me. Today I will be in your place, the master said. I just don't know if you will like it. And then the train with my team pulled up. It was a route. The owner offered them the most absurd moves, and they listened to him, believed him, or rather, believed me. And I was a yellow bud in the center of the stained glass. I could do nothing. They didn't understand anything until the very end. The owner was playing with himself and winning. He was in no hurry to checkmate. He took the pieces one by one until there was a white king left on the board. Even now, I could try to end the game in a draw, to reduce everything to a stalemate. But I was not in the game. Then the blacks dragged the broken, chopped up white figures across the marble floor and threw them onto the rails. "This is for the pioneers," said the master. "It seems cruel, but it was not I who betrayed them, but you." And I really did betray them. Then, at night,
when I softened in conversation with the master and forgot that one must neither trust nor ask. Never. They tore off the bench and put it in the middle. Masai is sitting with a machine gun on his knees. A young bronze girl in a quilted jacket is standing behind him on the left, holding her hand on his shoulder. Snezhka, says Masai. You should stretch your legs. Now, for once, you don't have to stand behind me.
Take a walk. Go for a walk, while you can. It's okay. Her voice is deep and hoarse. Everything's fine. I'll stay here. I've gotten used to it over the years. He covers her hand with his own and closes his eyes for a second. He straightens up, grabs the machine gun, and looks long and hard into my eyes. What does he hope to see there? They are bronze and certainly not a mirror of the soul, whatever that soul may be. Son, they say you can play chess? I nod. I can tell him I'm a grandmaster. I'm ashamed. Before my eyes, I see white figures falling onto the rails and trains grinding them down. That's the Grandmaster, shouts the rooster, sticking his head out from under the bench. He trained the pioneers in 81. I cringe, waiting for him to add, and he destroyed the entire team in 97. You know everything, Snezhka gets angry. Did you see it yourself? Everyone around is laughing. Even the grandfather is smiling into his beard. I saw it.
The rooster suddenly shouts and continues in the silence that follows. I was there. I am the boy with the globe. The Grandmaster taught us, and we won. Yes, we won. You may be a rooster, but don't break down, shouts a huge Red Army soldier with a bayonet rifle. Why are you jumping around here then? They let them go, the pioneers, didn't they? He let us go, yes. The rooster hung his head. I was free, and 3 weeks later I got lost in the tunnels again. What? Masai groans and clutches his non-existent heart. Everyone looks at the rooster as if he were a ghost. He falls on his side and covers his head with his wings. There is no one left, no parents, no friends. 44 years have passed. The war is over. A terrible one. My house is on Krechenikovsky. There is nothing now. No house, no street. The avenue is huge, only the wind blows. And she promised to meet in a week at the entrance. I waited for her 3 days before. Suddenly she would make a mistake or miss me, and then another 2 weeks after. I stole food from those big glass shops, warm myself in the metro. Where else would I go? The one with the pigtails never came, and one day they started chasing me out into the cold. Well, I jumped off the platform, went into the tunnel, they didn't catch me, and so I came back. Now I stand with Krestianka, participate in every tournament. They invite me after the Grandmaster taught me. The rooster nods in my direction, and I only regret that the statues don't faint. I wish I could pass out right now, fall into darkness and not feel. Well, the boy with a globe, the lover of queen endings, was always following the girl with 2 pigtails. And if we win, asks Snowball, win and you'll be free again? Lost again? To become some kind of statue? I don't know. Most likely, no. The rooster rises, shakes his feathers and pecks the floor sheepishly, as if someone had pulled grains for him. Now I understand how wrong I was when I came back. It's better to be alive, even if you're all alone. I suddenly remember where I saw Masai with Snezhka. Beloruskaya, the transition from Koltsevaya to Garkovsko-Zamoskvaretskaya. You go up the escalator, and there they are, Belarusian partisans. An old man with a machine gun on his knees, reaching out, as if he wants to either grab you or pat you on the head. And the girl on the left put her hand on his shoulder. And there was someone else, I remember clearly, holding a banner. Masai, you are a partisan, I say out of turn. His huge hands grabbed the machine gun, as if it was open, as if there was going to be a battle now. They were going to shoot. But almost immediately he relaxes. Yes, we are partisans. We stand together, me, Snezhka and Alyoshka.
Only they didn't take him. There wasn't enough room for him.
But if we win, they'll free him along with us. And if we lose, they'll execute us, like those in 97. Neshka responds, and her fingers squeeze Mazai's shoulder. His bones would have cracked if he weren't bronze. Mazai looks up at me, and for a moment it seems to me that tears are streaming down his cheeks, but that can't be. I shake my head, and the illusion dissipates. Mazai impulsively grabs my hand and shakes it. Son, listen, son. You play this chess well. Help us. He will kill Alyoshka. He will kill him completely. That's what he said. And Alyoshka is practically Zneshka's fiancé. And what did you think, so many years together? They, you could say, have grown together. Grandpa, Zneshka says quietly, we can't grow together. We're on different sides of you. He just shakes his head. Son, help us. All hope is on you. Don't let us down. He makes a move as if he wants to fall to his knees, but Snow White holds him tightly by the shoulder, leans over and hugs him from behind, whispering in his ear, No, Grandpa, please, no, please, I feel really bad.
A couple of minutes. Now.
I push aside the crowd behind me with my hands. I walk along the station, cut into islands. I ruined those 20 years ago, and now I will let these down too. What can I do if he shuts me up again? He will shut my mouth and make me watch how the white positions fall apart, how we lose pieces, how they checkmate, how the king is contemptuously kicked off the field. I'm meaningless and useless. I can't do anything, including refusing. I return, sit down next to Mazai, and the sturdy, well-made bench creaks, but holds. On this board, I am the same piece as you. I cannot play a game for you. The owner will not allow it. He did not let me last time, and he will not let me now. And there is no time to teach you.
Who knows how to play at all? The rooster raises his wing, and 2 or 3 more hands reach out. Not much. I once knew how the pieces move, Mazai sighs, but a long time ago. I don't remember now. You will be the king. He moves the easiest, in any direction and diagonally, but always 1 square. Of course, if the master does not change everything. Snowball, since you are used to being close, you will be the queen. Protect the grandfather. Everyone stand in 2 rows. I want to look at you and put you in positions in advance. While they are being built, I repeat to myself, this time it will be different. This time everything will go differently. I put Romulus and Remus as pawns on the left flank. I want them to be eaten later. It hurts, and they are just children. I can't make them rooks, a lot depends on these pieces. But Romulus and Remus don't know how to play at all. After some hesitation, I put the rooster as a knight. He seems to be the best player of all. And for what I have planned, I need strong knights. I plan to put the dog Irma as a pawn on the right. This way I will minimize the damage from her stupidity, which she will certainly do. But suddenly, without knowing why, I put her as a light-squared bishop. Intuition? Stupidity? I set up the rest and find the 2 are missing. Cold sweat breaks out on my forehead. We are short-handed. The owner has something planned. Will we have to play without 2 pieces? I'm here! I'm with you! The figure of the commander Kutuzov emerges from the darkness of the fresco. It looks very strange. A flat-painted man hobbles towards us, fluttering in the draft. When he approaches, it becomes clear how thin he is, a layer of paint a few millimeters thick. I can be a queen or a king, he says. I'm used to commanding. I played well in life. I know nothing about him or his chess talents, but something about him bothers me. If I had a choice, I would not take him into the game, but I have to. I put him in as another pawn.
He starts to complain, but the others shush him, and Kutuzov falls silent, but even with him, one figure is missing. Okay, let's get started. We don't have much time. Let's hope someone else comes along and we don't have to play a pawn down. Look, I've played the master twice and I've watched 8 more. I can't say he's a good player and is honing his skills. It's just that his opponents usually play even worse. I'm sure I could beat him 10 games out of 10, but he won't give me that chance. I probably won't be able to tell you the right moves, so let's discuss everything now. This is what I've concluded from studying all his games. He's extremely gambling, and if there's a chance to take a piece, he'll do it, even if it makes his position worse. So we are betting on a gambit from the start. What is this, a gambit? Asks Romulus. I'll explain now, I sigh, looking around at the others. Are there still those who don't know about the gambit? Forest of hands. Calm down, Grandmaster. Don't give up too early. They're all smart. Just explain and they'll understand. This means that we deliberately give up a pawn in order to gain an advantage. And I thought, Snezhka intervenes, that the advantage always goes to the one who ate more pieces. Actually, that's the whole point, to eat all of the opponent's pieces. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I say it wrong? A bit wrong, I nod. The goal in chess is not to eat all the opponent's pieces, but to checkmate the king. Sometimes you can do this without eating almost anyone. The point is this. We give the master a pawn, he swallows it, and I checkmate him in a few moves. We will, but we can't know in advance how the master will move. Therefore, it is not enough to simply learn some gambit. You will have to analyze several. Try not to memorize the moves, but to think about why and what they are for. If we had a month, my entire team would be gambit masters by the time the game started. Except maybe Irma the dog, but there is no time. We don't know when the master will start the game. Maybe we have an hour or two, maybe 20 minutes, maybe nothing at all. Besides, we are short a piece. We split into 2 teams. Of course, we don't have enough for 2 full sets of pieces, but then not everyone participates in gambits. In any case, we have no choice, and for the next hour and a half, we practice gambits. At some point, it begins to seem to me that my charges are beginning to grasp the essence. However, most likely this is just self-deception. The 16th is arriving, the 16th is arriving, the announcer's voice barely breaks through the thick layers of interference. Sirens blare and right next to our chessboard a crack forms. Grows, widens. New tracks form in it, onto which the train thunders. Blue bottom, light blue top. Yellow light from within. The doors clanking and grinding, reminiscent of the bars in pre-trial detention cells, swing open. A golden angel floats out of the carriage sideways, because otherwise it would not have squeezed through the carriage doors. His feet don't touch the floor. His arms are spread out and almost grow into wings, like dented but still graceful wings of yellow metal. The figure hangs in the air at an odd angle, as if falling to the side, but does not fall, and my non-existent vestibular system plays tricks on me as I look at the figure. It is not so easy to understand whether this figure is male or female. Sculptors often give women masculine features, trying to convey their will and strength. After some thought, I decide that it is male. I know, crows the rooster, running forward. It's Icarus. Icarus from Avia Motornaia. He's crucified there on a silver circle with airplanes. After all, Icarus, that means he is. Masai rises from the bench, takes 2 heavy steps, bends down, stretches out his hand and grabs the rooster by the tail. Shut your beak, your pioneer soul. At least try to think before you chatter. It's better to sit here.
With these words, he pushes the rooster under the bench, ignoring his indignation. Icarus hangs, motionless and silent. Masai stands in front of Icarus and extends his hand. Let me introduce you. I'm Masai. Here's the Grandmaster. He trains us. And this is... But Icarus never extended his hand in response. He can't give you his hand, Rooster shouts angrily from under the bench. He'll fall right away. Wings and hands are the same thing for him. And anyway, he doesn't react to anything and doesn't talk to anyone. You, Masai, don't know anything, don't understand anything. All you can do is grab someone by the tail.
The dog Irma carefully sniffs Icarus's legs. He gently sways in the air like a boat on the waves. Hey, can you hear me, boy? Masai carefully touches the edge of the wing. It is unclear whether Icarus hears him. And how will he play? I sigh. He will. The rooster runs up to me, prudently running around Masai in a wide arc. I know, I played with him twice. He wakes up on the field and makes good moves. He may play better than me. There. We have no choice anyway, I say. Welcome to our team, Icarus. I carefully take his right hand in mine and shake it a few times. And at that moment I feel his whole body shudder. And I feel a bad feeling in my heart. I ignore it. I have no time for worries now. The game is about to begin. Sirens howl, 100 announcers speak at once, their metallic voices mix, overlap, deafen. We are no longer human, but we still cover our ears with our hands. The dog howls, the rooster tries to hide his head under his wing. On the opposite side, on the other side of the tracks that cut Victory Square in two, something is happening. The marble squares seem to be lit up from within, begin to glow brighter and brighter, and then with a grinding sound that drowns out the announcers' voices, begin to move out of the floor, rise up, forming a 1.5 meter pedestal. This is our chessboard. 3 trains arrive simultaneously on the tracks, separating us from the pedestal. I have never seen them break like that. A train is not a bicycle, and even that requires at least a short distance before stopping. These trains, on the other hand, are rushing at full speed and then immediately stop. Multi-ton machines, and you want to shout, "This can't happen!" But it is. The doors on all the trains open at once, forming a bridge that we walk across to the other side. There, a board and an invisible stone throne await us. Perhaps it does not reflect the light, or perhaps our marble bronze-stone eyes are simply unable to see it. But we know it is there. It is their tall, black, sharp peaks decorating the armrests on which the master's hands rest. There is no step to make it easier for us to climb onto the pedestal. I lift Romulus first, then Remus. The rooster tries to jump up with a running start, but each time he falls just a little short, scrapes his spurs on the marble edge and falls down. After the third attempt, Snowball comes up from behind, grabs the rooster with both hands and lifts him up. Most of the human statues climb calmly, if without grace. Icarus, seeing the chessboard, seems to wake up. He flaps his wings, takes off, and lands smoothly on the edge of the podium. "Our Icarus has flown away," the rooster grumbles. Snezhka helps Masai climb up, even though it seems to me that he doesn't need help at all. Snezhka, Irma, and I are left below. We spend several minutes trying to persuade her to jump. We ask, call, give comments, but Irma completely ignores them, only looking at us with intelligent eyes. Attempts to catch her lead to nothing. She easily gets away from our clumsy bronze hands, growls, and bares her teeth. When we are almost in despair, a special whistle is heard from above, which seems strangely familiar to me. Irma takes off and in one jump finds herself on the pedestal. I wipe the non-existent sweat from my forehead, raise my head and discover that Icarus was whistling. Irma is jumping around him, wagging her tail. I keep trying to remember where I heard such a whistle. Snezhka puts her hand on my shoulder. "Let's get going, Grandmaster. Black is already here. A row of pawns with square shields and helmets with glass visors.
clubs in their hands.
Above them tower knights, resembling armored personal carriers, rooks bristling with cannons, eyeless bishops, a king and a queen, faceless but multi-armed, like Indian gods. The queen has jagged steel in each hand, knives, sickles, bayonets and scythes. So you can't help but look for empty eye sockets and a smiley skull under the black crown. But there are only rivets and dark metal. This was not the case in previous games. The master has reworked a lot, and now it will be much more terrible for the eaten pieces to die. On our side, on the first and second horizontals, our identification marks are scattered, parts of costumes. Line up, guys! I clap my hands, and the echo continues to roam around the station for a long time. Masai, you are our king, take this. I hand the old partisan a paper crown and an elongated balloon with something like a scepter painted on it. The owner will try to humiliate us, to get us mad, so that we play worse. It amuses him. So hold on, Masai.
You picked the wrong guy. Masi straightens up, and suddenly it turns out that he has an army pairing. I won't bend to him. I'm not just in bronze. I haven't had to fight as a partisan, but I've really fought. He crookedly places a tiny garish crown on his head, slaps me on the shoulder so hard my knees buckle, and waving an inflatable scepter, walks to his square E1. Snowball puts on the jester's cap, which will replace her queen's crown, without question. Her face has a special contemptuous expression, as if she were looking at a drunken fool with vomit-stained pants trying to make her acquaintance. The elephants get gas masks. Our elephants are Irma the dog and Icarus, hovering askew above his cage. He allows me to put the gas mask on him, which surprisingly fits him. But Irma is a problem. In the end, I put the gas mask on her head, trying not to touch her polished nose, the source of constant pain.
Masai and the discus thrower girl from the bas-relief at Dynamo Station are holding her, and Snieshka is whispering something in her ear. For the horses, children's horses on sticks are prepared. I take the one with the pink mane and I put the yellow one with the slanted eyes in front of the rooster. For a minute he looks at me with one eye and then with the other and then says, "It's okay, I can handle it." He hooks his spurs onto the stick, flaps his wings and makes several wild leaps, the horse head swinging from side to side. Okay, I sigh. We're not performing at the Bolshoi, that'll do. I hand out hats with pom-poms to the pawns. Remus, Romulus, go to the right flank. Maybe it won't reach you at all. I managed to work out a few gambits with them, as with the other pawns, but now, seeing how the master has equipped the blacks, I understand that I do not want to put them in the center. I feel so sorry for them. I take them by the hands and am already leading them to the squares assigned to them, when the wheel of sirens spreads throughout the station and the unbearably shrill, deafening voice of the announcer is heard. Pons, Romulus and Remus immediately move to squares D2 and E2. Immediately move to squares D2 and E2. Immediately move... What a bastard. The owner shoves them right into the center, and I can't argue with him. Guys, don't be afraid of anything. Remember what we've been working on. Everything will be good. I don't really believe it myself. The owner has another dirty trick in mind. Nevertheless, I am ready to do everything I can. I will never let anyone down again. And then he stops time again, for everyone but me and the blacks. 3 pawns step forward. Each one is taller and broader than me. 2 of them twist my arms and the third throws my head back. The many-armed queen towers over me, and I see a drill in one of its hands. I scream and can't help myself. As he drills 4 holes around my mouth, I moan and squirm as he screws the metal rectangle over my mouth. The master doesn't like that you think of yourself as a rival, the queen says. Today you are just a piece, an ordinary horse. You won't have to command.
Today, each of you plays for yourself. Go to your place. Place, I said. And I come back. It seems to me that blood is oozing from under the bolts. But this cannot be. Most likely it is metal shavings. The owner starts the clock for the whites again. No one noticed anything. Not a second had passed for them. If anything happens, can you tell me where to go, Grandmaster? Asks the girl with the disc. I turn my head towards her and tap my finger on the metal plate covering my mouth. When I eat, I am deaf and dumb, she reads, fear in her eyes. So that's what's written there. It has begun. Romulus nudges Remus in the back, and he moves uncertainly from E2 to E4.
The opening plays out like clockwork. The knights jump out from behind the pawns, I make a move, gallop on a stupid stick, attack the square in front of Remus, the Black Knight turns its scary armored muzzle towards the plaster boy and neighs. I see Remus shaking. Hold on, kid, it will hurt, but if he does hit you, we will win in 2 moves. And it will be amazing. Now the rooster should jump out, our second knight, but he does not have time. Romulus' nerves give out. He steps forward, finding himself to the left and behind Remus, and takes his hand. Help! Protect! How untimely! Our gambit is ruined, the initiative is lost, there will be no quick checkmate. There is a long positional game ahead, in which each of our guys will play for himself. And I am deaf and dumb. I am calculating several options for the game's development. Our position is good, but if we make one wrong move, everything will fall apart.
Kutuzov smiles. It seems to him that he is now the most important, the commander, the generalissimo. Without looking at anyone, without any sense, he jumps over the cage along his third strip. He is immediately eaten. I catch myself breathing a sigh of relief. This self-confident guy could have made such a mess. The black pawn stands to the right of Remus. The master is about to exchange. This is probably to our advantage, but something zaps where my heart might be. The black pawn raises a club and I see sharp teeth on it. Not a club, a mace. Remus's forearm shatters and Romulus is left with Remus's hand, wrist and elbow. The black one grabs the fallen enemy pawn and throws it off the board. And I can't go and see what's wrong with the boy. I'm in the game. I see Romulus throwing himself at the black pawn, pounding it with his fists with all his might. The enemy pawn doesn't care. Only this isn't boxing, this is chess.
Romulus just ate it, and it leaves the field looking back and grinning. It was a bad move. Romulus is on an unprotected square, and we lose him immediately. We are a pawn down. If only I could talk, if only I could command, if only I could do anything. A few more moves and our position is getting worse. We must move the second knight. I make signs to the rooster, but he is on the other side of the board. He does not even understand that I am addressing him. However, he is an experienced player, and he himself sees that now we can push back the black on the right. He jumps on the stick and the black pawn on f6 teases Irma, our bishop, pretending to poke her with a club, and Irma can't stand it. Before the rooster can make a move, our dog-elephant rushes diagonally across the square, sinks its teeth right into the pawn's throat. The black queen slowly approaches, waves one of her arms. Irma goes limp, flopping onto her side. We've lost the bishop, exchanged it for a pawn. I jump forward, creating tension on the left flank. It's too early to give in. There's always a fight. If only I could show the second bishop, Icarus, in a gas mask, where to go. It could be quite a challenge. But he's blind, and I'm mute. And then my bronze eyes widen.
I see Icarus floating across the board, his soles not touching the squares. He hits another black pawn in the face with his wing, and I realize that this is the best move of all. I, the Grandmaster, did not see it, but Icarus did. He exposed himself, and if the enemy queen hits him now, if he takes the bait, then in 2 moves I will checkmate the master, and he will be able to do nothing. Nothing. The queen looks at the winged figure hanging before him in bewilderment, looks back towards the master's invisible throne, and does not know what to decide. And then the order comes. The queen raises her hand with the seat and chops Icarus diagonally. The wings and head clank against the marble slabs of the board, and I clutch my chest. It's as if I've been chopped up. I would like to say that I pulled myself together, but that is not true. I made the next move automatically. It was too obvious for me. I moved a few squares, dragging the stick with the horse's head behind me. Check. Why does it hurt so much? The king is gone. I know what to do. I turn towards the queen. And then both white and black freeze. The owner stops time again. I raise my hand with the book, checking if I can move. My hand rises. The book covers the plate that covered my mouth. I wait. Nothing happens. The rooster jumped up and hovers on his stick horse. Mazai's fingers froze on the useless machine gun that cannot fire. Sniezhka, in her jester's cap, as always, squeezes his shoulder, as if she expects to protect him. I go to the edge of the board, look at Irma's head lying below with her nose polished to a shine, Icarus wings, the remains of the pawns. I cross the entire board from the 1st to the 8th vertical. On the right, Romulus, who no longer has a leg, only an iron rod, embraces Remus and applies to his shoulder what remains of Remus' torn-off arm. I return to the field where I should be. What am I even doing? You've really made fun of us, I shout to the side. You can laugh. We? And then I shut my mouth. I almost screamed. We defeated you. However, I scream only inside my head. The plate with the inscription still covers my mouth. What if the master hasn't yet realized that the game is lost? Lost because of his greed, his habit of eating everything that goes into his mouth. And if I tell him myself, will he want to replay, cheat, change the conditions? How can we stop him? He is the master here. And I fall to my knees. We lost, master. And then the fog returns. Its black tongues snake across the hall, bleaching the colors, and I tremble like a living person in the wind. I knew about the stone throne on the other side of the board. I knew all this time that the master sat on it, but now I see it. As before, I can neither see nor remember. My gaze does not focus, my thoughts fly into each other, but I feel he is here and demands to look into his face. Now my horror, my despair is genuine. His eyes are 2 black tunnels. A mouse, trains are rushing towards me, the rumble and clank endlessly reflected from the walls of my skull inside my head. I fall backwards, and the train thunders above me. It will never stop, and I will never raise my head. And then the master starts talking in my head. Trying to cheat, Grandmaster. That's not your strong point. You're close, very close to victory, and I don't want it. Oh yes, I can grind you into bronze dust, scatter you in the tunnels, but that's not what I want. Winning, that's what I need. Winning in many ways. And now, while time stands still, our game goes on, and it's my turn.
I want to show you something, and while my train rushes over your head, close your eyes. His voice sounds in my head, and my eyes close themselves without my participation. My eyes are closed, but I see.
I see Krasnopresnitskaya in the last train leaving. And time and light, everything is the same as when I jumped onto the tracks to get lost in the tunnels forever. Only my wife is not on the platform. Instead, my daughter Irka is standing. She has grown up. Apparently, several years have passed, but she has not changed so much that I do not recognize her. Her hair is shorter, but she also bites her lip before a difficult decision. She looks into the tunnel. It goes on and on. I would think that the master has stopped time again, if not for the draft swaying Irka's hair. At some point, the draft stops too. And the next second, Irka shudders, goes to the edge of the platform, and jumps onto the tracks. She manages to stay on her feet, and now she's standing and looking into the tunnel.
From where the wind blows a real hurricane. Irka leans forward and walks against the wind. Slowly, step by step, she moves forward. She walks and walks, biting her lip, until she disappears into the tunnel. Even if my mouth wasn't covered by the plate, even if I wasn't pressed into the path, I still wouldn't be able to utter a word. Just think, Irka, why? Why? She went after you. Your daughter was going to find you in the tunnels. The master's voice spoke in my head again. Who would have said she was crazy? 6 years passed, and neither that nor his body were found. Your wife decided that you had run away. To another, to Siberia, to the Far East, fled the country. But she told your daughter that you were lost in the tunnels, and she believed her. You think she's not crazy, Grandmaster? Whatever the case, on February 28, 1984, your daughter was lost in the tunnels. I've had her ever since.
He waited until my bronze inside stood on end and continued, "Now it's your turn, and it's up to you to decide what it will be. You can win the chess game and free all the pieces that were playing, the plaster children, the dog, and that pioneer with the comb and beard, the partisans, all three of them, and that guy with the banner. I'll glue Icarus together and let him go, let him walk. I'll release the rest, everyone except you. I'll forgive you for that, you're my favorite toy." Or you make another move, the one that leads to loss. There's no need for deliberate stupidity, just don't win now, and I'll ruin your positions, crush you. No one will even notice your betrayal, bad guy. They'll think you did everything you could, and I'll give you your barrel of jam and box of cookies. I'll set you and your daughter free. Smell the sweet smell, that's what betrayal smells like, and jam. And you don't have to answer me. Just make your move.
When it's all over, I find myself kneeling, and the black field beneath me is like ash, like soot. The master is not satisfied. He has already arranged for me to be known as a traitor. Now he wants me to become one in reality. The remaining whites on the board do not take their eyes off me. Snezhka has laid her head on Mazai's shoulder. She has not moved her head once during the entire game. Mazai looks as if he is about to have a heart attack. I turn away. Don't, I beg you, don't look at me. Turn away, fall asleep, go blind. Because I am about to do the worst. I cannot help but betray. I rise to my feet, throw aside the meaningless horse's head on a stick. Slowly, stamping each step, I move 2 squares to the left and 1 forward. Daddy, why does the knight move in an L shape? In front of me is the black bishop, which you did not protect, master. You thought that I would never attack it, didn't you? In my hands is a heavy book of chess openings.
I swing from the shoulder, throw it into the very center of the elephant's skull, between the eyes, and the armored head splits in two. I kick him in the belly. He slides along the marble slab, to the edge, beyond the edge of the board. And Irka, whom I betrayed, is looking at me from all sides, and I can't even close my eyes. With the corner of the same book, I catch the plate that still hides my mouth. An instant tension of muscles, and it flies to the side, is torn out with meat, with a piece of my cheek, lip, chin. It will hurt later, but now I can speak again, and I say, check. Now I can surrender, but the Black King is covered by a pawn. The master has not yet believed that I am serious. I have 4 possibilities, 4 different moves, and 3 of them inevitably lead to defeat. But the steamroller of my betrayal can no longer be stopped. Checkmate.
With both hands I grab the Black King by the teeth of the crown that has grown together with his head, and push him down. The king falls to his knees, cracks run across the marble field. Irka, what have I done? Silence falls. A loudspeaker crackles somewhere. All of us who are conscious, on the board, on our feet, look at each other, unable to comprehend what has just happened. I feel the presence of the master, but somehow unclearly. Is he also confused? Doesn't know what to do? Is this even possible? And like a nail in the heart, the thought, will the master keep his promise? Then, with the pioneers, he acted honestly, and then he never clearly broke his promises. He played with words, caught us, but did not deceive us outright, a kind of honesty. And then, for the first time, I hear the master, not in my head, not as my distorted voice, but as a low roar generating multiple echoes. Grandmaster, you can consider yourself a winner.
And these useless souls that you just saved can be proud. They can even consider themselves heroes. They defeated the master himself. But let's not rejoice. Rejoice. You are all pathetic, brainless, and useless. The others do not get to me. People like you do not read the fine printing contracts these days. Oh yes, I said that I would let you go if you managed to defeat me. I promised that I would return your meaty, watery bodies to you. I am the master of my word. So run upstairs, run while you can, because I did not promise you that my black pieces will not try to kill you. They are angry with you, very angry. Run, Grandmaster, yes. Yes, you heard right. I am letting you go too. From here to death. And it is already breathing in your ear. You have entertained me well, and I give you 30 seconds. Run, and don't be fooled. None of you will get out of here. Ever. Let's run! I shout incoherently. My mouth is torn, but it's clear to everyone which way the wind is blowing. We are taking the wounded, Masai commands. I pick up Romulus and Remus. I hesitate near the crippled Icarus. I can't carry 3, but something inside screams, take him with you. Why are you frozen, Grandmaster? The rooster jumps down, flapping his wings. You won't drag him there, don't be a hero. The rooster is right, although you want to hit him with something heavy. I'll take him. Masai easily throws Icar's thin golden body over his shoulder. Run! Save the boys! And I finally run. The stupid head start that the master gave us should already be coming to an end, but no one is chasing us yet. Someone from ours picks up Irma, Kutuzov. We run through the endless hole that the Park Mobility Station has turned into, through the wide-open doors of trains frozen on the tracks, to the infinitely distant escalators on the other side. There are more blacks left. There are no children nor animals in their ranks, and they also have a queen with her murder weapons, but their advantage is not so great that we cannot fight them off on the run. If only we could get to the escalators. Where does the master's power end? I never thought about it, but it seems to me that he will not come up after us and will not send his blacks. But when I look back as I run, my miscalculation and my naivety appear before me as clearly as objects in a flash of lightning. Why did I decide that he would send only these after us from the black hole that the fresco has turned into? Dozens of black ones are climbing, jumping, crawling out, and many of them do not even resemble people. Many-legged, snake-like, insect-like. Some of them take off and begin to circle there, above, under the very vaults. I don't stop, I don't have time for that. My legs are too heavy as it is. They reluctantly uncouple, confused and disheveled.
Should we take the banner, Grandpa? Asks Alyoshka. His voice is high and brittle. I'll tell you what to stick your banner, you pig curl, yells the rooster, unexpectedly wedging himself between Snezhka and Alyoshka. I'll enlighten you. And suddenly he starts to slide across the smooth floor like a puck on ice, screaming, cursing, wailing, spinning, striking sparks, and on Snow White's face there is a serene smile. She shakes her bruised leg, which she just used to send the rooster flying. You shouldn't say that, Mazai shakes his head. In fact, he's good. Run! Run! I scream at the top of my bronze throat because they have almost caught up with us. We forgot about them for a moment and they are already here. Someone jumps on my back. I shake him off without looking, speeding up my run. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a flying piece of crap diving at Snezhka. Alyoshka knocks the piece of crap down with the flagpole he never dared to throw.
Romulus and Remus weakly squirm in my arms. As we break away, the escalators are in front of us. They are working. And then I understand why the master gave us this stupid head start and why the blacks are not in a hurry. Escalators. I turn my face to Mazai. They won't hold us. They are not designed for our weight. Maybe if we go one by one and lying down, well, like skiing on loose snow. We crowded in front of the escalators. The black ones are slowly approaching, trying to get in from the left and right. The flying ones are circling almost above our heads. Mazai looks at me for a few seconds and I'm about to repeat, explain more simply. He didn't understand. You'll go with the kids, Grandmaster. Snowball, take this golden angel, then the others. If you load them little by little, the little miracle ladder won't collapse, will it? But we don't have time.
Yes, guys, Mazai mutters. There's time, it's enough, it should be enough. Snezhka takes Ikar from him. Mazai picks up the machine gun. I'm still too heavy, he whispers in my ear. I can't get out. Keep an eye on the boys. He fires a long burst at the bastards circling above our heads. The bastards fly off in all directions. I'm with you, I say quietly. I'll help. I don't have to live anymore anyway, after everything. Irka, I betrayed my daughter. Boy, Mazai sighs, you can't save everyone, but some can and should be saved, so save them. Goodbye, boys, he says to Romulus and Remus. Carry on, Grandmaster, he pokes me in the side with the barrel of a machine gun, and I run, fall backwards onto the escalator, Rem and Romulus with me. Snezhka and Ikar are on the next escalator. The steps beneath us creak, but hold. We go up. A machine gun is firing below. How many rounds does it have? Where did it even get the rounds from? And most importantly, are they any good? Are we going to wait for Mom here at the exit? Rem asks. No, we have to run, I mutter, looking around. But you said she would come here,
Romulus frowns. If we stay here for long, we will be killed. Romulus is silent. I can see that he also wants to be far away from here. The escalator gradually brings our people up. They surround me, cry, shout, bombard me with questions. I try to look confident, as if I know what I'm doing and understand what's going on. I'm a bundle of nerves in bronze. I still haven't returned to my body, and none of us are the same yet. As soon as the escalator pushed me upward, time, stopped by the master, began to move again. The people, the duty officer, the cleaner, and 2 policemen in new uniforms were not at all happy to see us, and no one will be happy. Statues do not walk. We are monsters to them. I heard a small red-cheeked policeman shouting into the radio as he ran, calling for reinforcements. What will they do? Will they try to talk first?
Or immediately, I tell Rem that we need to run, but we can't until we are sure that everyone who could has gotten up. Cracks run across the ceiling. There's a rumble below, shaking the lobby. I push aside the statues clustered around me and reach the escalator just as it crashes down. There's no one else to wait for.
Alyoshka!
Snowy screams. If I hadn't managed to grab her, she would have already been flying down into the mine.
Alyoshka! Alyoshka!
She breaks free and kicks me in the legs.
Yes, I am here,
comes from somewhere below. I hold Snowball with all my might.
Wait, you'll fall. Now, wait.
We lie down on the floor and carefully crawl to the edge. Alyoshka is hanging on some chain he managed to grab hold at the last moment. He still hasn't let go of the banner. And then I realized what our bronze advantage was. If we were people, we would never have been able to pull the heavy multimeter chain with Alyoshka hanging on it. But we groaned and managed. Just as I wanted to shout that we had to leave, there was a thin tinkle of breaking glass. Something flew into the lobby and started spinning around on the floor. Thick smoke billowed out. The next second, machine guns fired. "Now let's run, that's it!" I yelled, shielding the plaster bodies of Remus and Romulus with my body. And we took off. "Do you think we can fool them like that?" the rooster asked sullenly. Hope, an old playground, wooden bears, a crocodile, a baby elephant. You definitely won't find a rooster here. The main thing is, don't crow. "My hand is freezing," Rem said. "It's because you become alive again." I, Romulus, Rooster, Snowball, and her fiancé all looked at the thin arm sticking out of the plaster shoulder, as if from a crippled suit of armor. His face was cracked. Several pieces had broken off, and the living child's face was beginning to emerge from under the plaster.
"I wanted to pick it off, but it hurt," complains Rem. "It's stuck." "No need," I say quickly. "It will fall off on its own. Now we will find a warmer entrance, wait out the night, and in the morning we will find clothes and look for your mother. We will definitely find her. And you, Snezhka, what will you do?" Silence. I look around. Snowball is not nearby. "Snezhka!" It is very difficult to shout in a whisper. "Where are you?" They're there, behind the garbage dump, kissing. I can see them well from here. I turn towards the voice. Icarus is standing, swaying. However, all he has from Icarus is the wing above his left arm. Irka's dark, cheerful, and piercing eyes are looking at me. "Daddy," she says, "your bronze nose broke off, but your real one has appeared. It's better. No? Isn't it good that I found you?"